Welcome to this should be our sixth part, yeah, on the lesson on key G. Okay, so this should be our sixth part. So we looked at quarter chords in the previous section. So for this one, we are going to be looking at diminished chords. Okay, so a few applications of diminished chords that might help you begin to sound like a professional. So I'll just start. If you don't know what a diminished chord is, this is how it looks like. So if this is a G major chord, then you have this as your diminished chord. Okay, so you have your 1, your flat 3, and your flat 6. So that is what forms your diminished chord. Then you have something like a diminished 7th chord, which looks like that. So you have G, A sharp, C sharp, and E. That's your diminished 7th chord. And we only have like 3 sets of diminished chords. So this one inverted is this one, it is this one, and it is still this one. Okay, so this, and this are the same thing. Okay, then you have the second set, which is this, then this. Okay, then you have the last set, this one, okay. So you have those 12 diminished 7th chords, but in essence they are just 3. Okay, so the G1 is the same as the B flat one, the same as the D flat one, and the same as the E one. So you have such things. Okay, you only have 3 sets which form the 12. Okay, so we're going to be looking at a slight application of diminished chords. So we are going to be taking the progression. We are using the 2 to the 5 to the 1. Okay, okay. I just want you to listen to what I'll do. Okay, okay. Okay, so you have that as the first one. Okay, then this as the second one. Okay, then okay. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this. Then okay, so you have that. Then so the first one starts from here. You have a G diminished 7th chord. That's the G diminished 7th chord, but inverted. So it's an A sharp diminished 7th chord. Okay, so along with an E bass line. Okay, okay. Then if you want it to sound a little bit better, you would want to use a drop one voicing. So a drop one means I'll drop my first note from the right, which is this E. I'll just drop the E and play it on my left, okay, so that I don't repeat the note twice. So I'll just drop the E on my right hand and play it on my left. You can play all the 4 notes if you want to, okay? You can play that way, but you can also play it this way. So I just dropped the E note and I played it on my left hand, okay? So that's the first chord. Then I'll just go a half step down, okay? So just go a half step down, okay? So I'll start here, E, then you have A, C sharp and G, or A sharp, C sharp, E and G. So you could have that, or just A sharp, C sharp and G. Then I'll go a half step lower, okay? So I have D sharp on my left hand, then I have A, C and F sharp on my right hand. This is the A diminished 7th chord, but as you can see, I dropped this D sharp note and played it on my left hand, so it looks something like that. Still the same thing, okay? Or you can play the whole thing, okay? Then what I'm going to do is invert this diminished chord. So when I invert it, it's going to start from here, from C, okay? Okay? So I have then the same diminished 7th chord but inverted. So now I have F sharp, then I have C sharp, D sharp, F sharp and A. But I can also drop this F sharp note so that I have C sharp, D sharp and A. Then F sharp on my left hand. So this is how the whole movement looks like. Start from there. Then so that always leads you to the 6. Then so okay, so repeat the thing again. So there is something I'm doing on my left hand when I get here. So there, okay, so I'm playing the E to the F sharp, okay? So okay, and very, very fast. Okay. Then that takes me to the 6. Okay. So that's my first movement. That movement is supposed to substitute a 3-6 movement. So instead of me playing maybe a 1, maybe let's use the major 6 chord. We use the 3, the 7 to the 6, then to the 6. So instead of doing that, instead of now playing this 3 chord to the 6, what I'll do, I'll just play that. I'll play my 7 and then I'll do this now. Then I'll come back to my 6 chord. Okay, so to our progression 2-5-1. So same thing. So, and it's the same theory I'm using here, but these are not diminished chords, okay? I can just show you that movement. It's a 5 chord movement, okay? So then you see I'm using the same theory. So this is supposed to be a C major 7 chord, but I'm dropping this G to my left hand. So I'm playing something which looks like that. So I'm left with C, E, and B on my right hand and G on my left hand, okay? So instead of playing this and having the G note on both hands, just drop it from your left hand. So that is what I'm calling a drop 1 voicing, okay? So I have this, then so instead of playing the whole of this thing, which is now supposed to be a D dominant 7 chord, instead of playing this, I drop the F sharp and play it on my right hand. So I have something like. So I do the same for the diminished. Okay. Then 6. Then. Okay. Okay, so that's the first movement. Then the second movement is the one which is supposed to take me to the 2. So it looks like this. Okay? So it looks something like that. Then, okay, so the movement will start from this diminished 7th chord, which is, it's a C diminished 7th chord, but inverted. So it's an E flat diminished 7th chord with a 2 bass line. That's my A, okay? But I'm dropping the A on my right hand, remember? So I'm not playing this A. So I'm dropping it. So I have A on my left hand, and then I have D sharp, F sharp, and C on my right hand. Then same thing, go a half step lower. It's just the same thing we did with the other movement. Go a half step lower for each note. So you have G sharp, then you have D, F, and B. Okay? Then invert the same thing. So you have B, then you have F sharp, G sharp, and D. Okay? So that's your last chord. It's an F diminished 7th chord, but what I'm doing, I am omitting the B note on my right hand and playing it on my left hand. Okay? Okay? So the whole movement. And you see what I'm doing with my left hand? So very fast. Then takes me to the 2. So you can use these 2 that I showed you, the rootless one, okay? Then so it is important that you get a hold of these drop 1 voicings. They will help you sound better, because sometimes playing the same note on both hands makes it look a little bit crowded, okay? So for example, if I play this, it's not wrong to play that, but I have the E note on both hands. So why shouldn't I omit the one on my right hand and play it on my left? So see that and that, so it sounds a bit crowded. So then takes you to the 6, then this one takes you to the 2, takes you to the 2. Okay. that's pretty much it for that movement, for the diminished 7 movement, to take you to the 6 and to take you to the 2. So applying the second movement in our progression, so you have your 2, okay, then okay, so there is something I'm doing with my left hand, okay, so from G sharp to A, then when I land on the A, I land on this chord, so then the same thing, okay, then to the 5, to the 1. So let's apply both. So the 2 to the 5, okay, so the 2 to the 5, then okay, sorry, so that then so that's the 6th one. Next I'm going to use the one for the 2. Okay, and remember to use also this drop 1. Okay, 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 so that's your so the first movement substitutes a 3-6 movement, the second one substitutes a 6-2 movement. Okay, so then you have many other diminished chords, so like in the other song we are using, so there is also a certain theory, okay, so assuming you are playing your 7, that's F sharp, you're going to use a G diminished 7th chord, so it's like a semitone higher, okay, so that's your 7. You see, I'm using the 7 with a G diminished 7th chord. Then I'm going to use the 3 with a C diminished 7th chord, okay? You see, it's a semitone higher, okay? So whichever inversion, so even if I decide to use this inversion, or this one, or this one, or this one, as long as it's a C diminished 7th chord, okay, so I'm going to use the F sharp, which is my 7, with a G diminished 7th chord, so that's a semitone higher, okay. Then the same thing for the B, okay, and as you can see, I'm playing the B as a dominant 7 chord. I told you to take note of that. So I'm playing the B, D sharp, F sharp, and A. Then a C diminished 7th chord on my right hand. Okay, so you have this. Then to the 6 maybe. Then the same thing, if I wanted to move from the 6 to the 2, this is E. So my 6 is supposed to be an E note. I'm going to be using an F diminished 7th chord. So that's just the theory. So I'll use an F diminished 7th chord. Assuming I wanted to move from the 6 to the 2. Then okay, so then to the 2. So if I wanted to move from the 7 to the 3, I'll use a diminished chord that is a semitone higher. So F sharp with a G diminished 7th chord, okay? Okay. If you play it higher, you can also play the F sharp as a dominant 7th chord. F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, and E with the G diminished 7th chord. Then to the B, D sharp, F sharp, A with the C diminished 7th chord. Then to the 6, which is an E dominant 7 along with the F diminished 7th chord, okay? Then to the 2. Okay, so those are that's just the theory. It's quite simple, but what you have to make sure you do is to get all these inversions. Make sure you understand these inversions very, very, very well. Make sure you understand them pretty well, okay? So if maybe you are playing a song like those hymns that have a flat 5 chord, okay? So okay, so it's okay to just play it that way, but if you can invert these chords upwards, it sounds better, okay? So like see what I did there? So I just inverted the same chord upwards thrice, okay? So in the end, I'll try and put a track for him that has such a movement, a flat 5 to the 5. So then you can use you can use the same movement, this, okay? Okay, so the same thing. Then the other thing you can do is, instead of just playing it this way, you can sharpen this note up by a tone. So this E note, take it to the F sharp. So you have G, A sharp, C sharp, and F sharp, okay? Then now return it to the E. So you start from here. So okay, so okay, so just sharpen it upwards. Then probably the last part we'll do on this chapter, this is your 6th chord, okay? You have your 6th chord. Now, like I said, you will play the 6th chord with an F diminished 7th chord, no matter the inversion, okay? You can play with any inversion you want to play it with. So So I want to choose this inversion, okay? So I want to choose this inversion that starts from D. So you have D, F, G sharp and B. I want to choose that inversion. So there is something you can do. You can also sharpen this B to the C. So you have something of this sort, okay? So you have D, F, G sharp and C. Then that leads you to the 2. Okay? Again, I was talking about drop 1 voicings, same thing. You can see I'm playing the G note on my left hand, so I'm avoiding it on my right hand. Okay? So I just have C sharp, E and B. Normally I would play the chord like this. Okay? I would have the G note on my right hand, but I am avoiding the G note and playing it on my left hand. So okay? Okay? So the 6, okay? Okay, so this is the movement 6. So you can decide to play an E major chord on your left hand, doesn't matter, or an E augmented chord. Okay, so then with that chord D, F, G sharp and C. Then do this, just play a G note on your right hand with this. Okay? Okay? So the chord starts from here, C sharp, F sharp and B. If you look at that chord properly, it's a quarter chord, but now I'm dropping the F sharp to the E, okay? So F sharp, F, E. So then to the 7th chord we know, which is our 5. Then to the 1. Okay? Which I'm playing as an add 9. So the 6. Okay? So I said you can play either an E major chord on your left hand, or an E augmented. So an E augmented looks like that. So depending on what kind of voicing you want, okay? So then to the 5, then to the 1. So you have that use for the diminished chord, but as you can see I altered it a little bit, okay? So that's just it. So even if you wanted to use it in the 2-5-1 progression, then so this 6, that's your 6, then 6, 2, okay? So that's quite simple. So you will have such things. So make sure you take note of those diminished chord movements. They are simple. They are more advanced movements anyway, so we'll cover them later, okay? So, but for now I want you to get those few diminished movements. So that's it for this chapter. I think I'll see you in the next one.